Hello YouTube fans, it's Hair BMW, still alive and well. Not done a whole lot on the YouTube lately, although I've been watching videos religiously every day. Just not had an opportunity to get down and to film anything here on the E9330i, and so a little bit of all the developments that have been going on. The house is finished, turned out beautifully, very happy with it, and you can see behind me that we're all but done getting things out of the garage. There are a few things left, but not much, and so we'll take you around and show you. Here's the E90, and the hood being up is fairly significant. It's about to be laid up for a period of time. I'm not entirely sure how long, but we'll go over all the reasons for that here in just a few minutes. But just so you, not that you would concern yourselves with me having to walk to work, but you can see over there in the parking space is my new ride. It's a brand new little Honda Civic, which is very nice, quite frankly, it's the first brand new car I've ever owned. Always been a used car kind of a guy, and so it's a whole new experience, and I'm enjoying it. It's not quite the same car as my E90, which just by comparison, this is a 2006, and that little Honda is a 2014, and that little Honda has got more accessories or options. They're not options, more things standard on it than I can imagine. Backup camera, lane departure camera, Bluetooth, automatic headlights, automatic wipers. I mean, things that this car in 2006 didn't even have. So you know, the times, they are changing. But so what is going on with the old E90? Well, there has been for a while a list of little niggly things that needed to be addressed on the car, and about let me see, it would have been the middle of February-ish. There started to be a funny sort of grinding, rubbing sound, which I from the driver's position sort of sounded like it was right rear, passenger rear. So you know, the sound was, you know, it was not good, and it was getting a little bit worse. So I came home and jacked the car up, took the wheels off, and you know, checked the brakes, thinking that maybe a pad or a disc or something had stuck, or, you know, whatever, because it was that kind of you know, just metal on metal sort of grinding sound. Well, it couldn't really find anything, and it got a little bit worse and a little bit worse. And then one day, you know, just driving down the highway at, you know, 70 miles an hour, which is the speed limit there, it became alarmingly loud, and you could feel it in your pants. So did a little bit of research, did not really find anything that seemed like it was going to be the answer immediately. The most likely candidate seemed to be a center drive shaft carrier bearing, support bearing, something like that. So so I carried it to my local indie shop, the folks that did the electrical repaired the electrical snafu that occurred early on, and that was his best guess that that's probably that bearing. And there were a couple of other things it could be, including and not limited to the rear differential. Not quite as likely, but still possible. So that was going to be best case if they did the work, which they're very good and I trust them, but the reason I bought the car was to make it affordable. I had to do the work myself. But it was going to be in the neighborhood of $1,200, primarily because they put it up on the lift. They have to remove all the pans underneath, take off, apparently there's some insulation or some shrouding or something, so that they can have access to the whole drive line, and then they drive it, and I guess they run it somewhat on the lift or something anyway. So that necessitated buying the Honda. Now our plan has been all along for us to get another vehicle July time frame, because one of the things that I learned when I bought this car is it is very, very difficult. I shouldn't say it is difficult. When one becomes accustomed to always having a backup vehicle. And my wife and I have always had the luxury of each having our own vehicle, and then we always had one as a spare. And typically she always drives Hondas. I like to drive the BMW. I had the Z3 before this, and then I always had my truck, a truck. Well, when I bought this car, we decided, well, let's try it, cut down on the insurance, the registrations, yada, yada, yada. So we only had the E90. Well, now for the third time, the E90 has not performed and has left me needing to ask the wife to get me to work, and, you know, all that entails. And she's been very willing, she's been very kind. But we decided that we needed to have that third vehicle. So, not being fans of having car payments, we just were going to wait till July, save up a little, and yeah. So, we're a little early, nevertheless. So, what are some of the other things that the E90 is going to need? Well, it's had a little tiny oil leak from day one, and I've not been able, or I have not taken the time to get the car up on jack stands completely, take all the pans off to be able to get up there and investigate. Some of you longtime watchers will know that I ran into a bit of a problem when I tried to do the brake fluid. Certainly it'll get a brake fluid flush. My plan is to clean all of the rotors and pads. Wrong terms, I get them all mixed up. But what are they, the hats or the hubs or whatever? Yeah. Anyway, the bits back in here that just kind of get all rusty, and then paint the calipers and clean the wheels, clean the wheel arches, you know, just do all the stuff that will make it look, yeah, I think it's a little easier to see there. Now the pads themselves, the discs themselves are just a little rusty from having not been run, but it's this bit in here that really just needs the attention. So that's another project, is to get all of everything under here cleaned up. I've got caliper paint, all of that. Get the wheels all completely clean inside and out. So that was on the list, so that'll get done. Let's see, what else? Oh, well, you know, the paint on this car has never been very good. And I knew that when I bought it, and then, again, I've covered all of that in great detail with my detailing videos. But you can see here, I think you can see the front corner here caught a little bit of curb, and this bumper had been painted or repainted at least once, and even though it really was not an impact as much as it was a brush, and I fully take credit for it, it was me, but nevertheless, it's difficult to see, but you can see it looks a little different shaded. Well, one whole layer of the paint popped off, and it just popped off all up in here, and it's needed to be redone. So I had tried to restore this headlight. It had turned out reasonably well, but you couldn't get down in here, and it turns out that in order to get the lights out, you need to essentially take off the whole shroud. And this lens cover over here is really terrible. So, you know, the project, or one of the projects, is going to be to essentially remove the entire front bumper and restore both the headlights. Down inside there are some air scoops. The one on this side is broken and missing, which is supposed to direct air into the brakes. One on this side is fine, so that needs to be replaced. And my plan is to experiment, as I am wont to do, and well, probably, I shouldn't say either, but probably to repair and repaint this bumper myself. And aside from having never painted anything in my life, it will be a good experience. And because this is actually not metal, it's, I don't know what it is, some sort of plastic. I've done some research, and I have to add something, I think it's called plasticizer, to the paint to allow it to flex. And then you can see there's driving lights here and over here, and they're equally as bad as that headlight. So so that'll be another project. Since I'm going to have the front of the car off and the entire thing up on the jack stands, then of course deep buried down in there is the water pump, the electric water pump, and the thermostat, which is a huge project, which I didn't choose to undertake when I, just have a weekend or so. So that will be done. Fairly expensive, and that's, those two parts alone. And then as long as I'm in there, of course, you got to do the, well, you don't have to do, but I intend to do the hoses. So that will get done. I already have the new belts and tensioners for the front, and I didn't do those because that was going to be the weekend that I did the brakes, and well, there again, I said enough about that. So that's been on the list of things that needed doing. And oh, let's see, the underside of this car has got a couple, or is supposed to have a couple of big flat pans that go up underneath, I guess, primarily for aerodynamic reasons. Well, the one that's on the front, the large one, is in bad shape. Needs to be replaced. They're easily available on eBay. And then there's supposed to be another smaller one that goes behind it, which is missing completely. Again, not terribly unusual. People, repair shops, DIYers, whatever, they just don't put them on. And so all of that I'd like to try and take care of while I got the car up. And then, of course, replacing that center drive shaft support bearing. The bearing itself is not terribly expensive, and but it's having to take out both of the drive shafts, and then I believe the and I believe the way it works, it's been a while since I've looked at the videos, but you have the bearing is pressed onto one of the drive shafts. So I've got a number of friends with presses and things, so I'm not terribly concerned about getting that done. And then there are the two rubber mounting, I think they're called Gaibo joints, or Gaibo something or others at either end. And again, they're not very expensive, and as long as you're in there, it's best to just do them. And then, you know, it's like renovating your house. Well, as long as you're in there. So since I've had the car, I've never checked or serviced the rear differential. So of course that will get checked. Transmission fluid, you know, all the stuff that yeah, it just needs to be done. And I think that's pretty much most of the list. Of course, you never know until you get started what you're going to run into. But that's okay. Now the pressure is off because I have wheels. I have reliable wheels. So now it's just a matter of forming a plan. Started that. And budgeting. Of course, that's going to be the biggest, you know, the biggest hurdle. That you know, sort of a big portion of the pot that was going aside each month for, you know, repairs and work on the BMW is now going to making a small but nevertheless monthly car payment. We're blessed to you know, to be able to do it. We're very fortunate, and but still the object is now by July-ish to have it you know, have it paid off so that we just don't have to deal with that monthly sort of thing. So I think you know, I've as always fascinated watching Mr. Cutworm working on his project. It seems to be coming along really well. He got his wooden dashboard back the other day. Something that I enjoy very much is wood. Of course, having been a cabinet maker most of my life, that has a particular fondness for me. And Mr. Heavy Chevy working on his truck, I think that's an incredibly cool looking truck and very resourceful. And I really enjoy seeing him with his kids working in the shop right alongside of he and his wife. That's just amazing. It's good to see John Kerry back, and Scott's Garage, and we saw one or two videos from Neil, Dan Electro, and then not so much. It's good to see him and Oscar. And boy, you know, there's just so many that I follow. 63 Impala, busy doing things I don't begin to understand about making one tree into another kind of a tree. Very interesting, but completely foreign to me, I have to say. No green thumb here. And so that's about it. Really not a whole lot more I can say. Really plan to try and get started. I think I had mentioned a while back, this is the project for today, is trying to organize all this mess. But a while back, you know, trying to get more into this whole video thing and use the iPhone less, I bought this little Canon PowerShot. It was a heck of a deal, and I'll be daggone if I can get this thing to be worth 5 cents for me. It seems like no matter what I do, the dang batteries last about 5 minutes, and I've done everything according to the book, according to Hoyle. It's one of those things that I joke that I'm going to get thrown out of the guy fraternity, because the first thing I do is I read directions, and did everything like I was supposed to, but just not having any luck with it. And I've not spent a great deal of time on it, but I've spent enough time on it to be good and frustrated. So I'll you know, I'll get back on that. It's not the end of the world. So listen, I've yacked on long enough. I need to put this video together and get it out there so that the world knows I'm still here. And that's about it. So it's Hair BMW. My arm gets tired and I keep getting closer and closer. So anyway, it's Hair BMW. It's not really a John Kerry day, because in eastern North Carolina, we don't have that many really cloudless days, but it doesn't get much nicer. It's about 74 degrees. The pollen is just starting to accumulate on everything. You can see all the cherry blossoms and apple, or I don't know what kind of tree they are, but they're already past their due, and big trees are starting to, I don't know what you call it, bloom out, bud out, blossom out, whatever it is. Like I said before, I am no green thumb. So anyway, that's enough yakking from Hair BMW. And the E9330i, I do one of those sort of Mr. Cutworm things and wave at you like that and say bye-bye.